What's going on, guys? It is your boy Yasuke Fitness back at it again with another episode of Father's Talk. This week, it is Sunday, February 19th. We are almost 2 months into 2023. I hope you guys are doing all right. I hope you guys are making these gains, planning out what y'all going to do for the summer, how y'all going to start cutting down. I'm going to start cutting down in about a month. So you guys are going to start seeing me change and whatnot. But anyways, aside from all that, that's what I've been doing. Back at it again with another episode. This is episode 3 of Father's Talk, and I'm here today with my two brothers. If you guys would go ahead and introduce yourself.
Want to go ahead, Quan?
All right, guys, what's up? It's your boy Kwanzaa the One. You already know me. Brother was my his brother was Yasuke Fitness. You know what I mean? So
Hey, what's up, guys? You guys remember me, Derek the Divine. You can follow me on Instagram at Derek the Divine. If you're interested into any type of fitness content or anything like that, you can also go on hitamusclefitness.com and yeah, book a consultation with me so I could be your trainer and get your body in shape. And it's a pleasure to be on your show, Yasuke.
All right, cool. We're good to go. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Uh, Help me out through the YouTube algorithm. This is what I'm trying to do. This is the channel I'm trying to create. So, without further ado, we're gonna go into the videos of today's topic, and then we'll go ahead and chat about it. All right.
Yep.
So, let's.
you can explain who Jordan Peterson is first.
I mean, I'll explain. So if you don't know who Jordan Peterson is, go look him up. Search him on Google. We're gonna do a reaction video. All right. Here we go. Let me know if you guys hear this.
There's a chapter in my book called don't let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. And I'm pretty happy about this chapter, although I suspect it'll be rather controversial. And it's predicated first on the observation that many people hurt their children physically and psychologically, because everyone gets sentimental about the relationship between parents and children, but that's especially in relationship to themselves, because they think, of course I'm going to be a good parent. It's like, it's not so bloody obvious that you're going to be a good parent, and then what I see happening with people who don't know how to discipline their children is that the children run roughshod over them in their, let's call them hierarchical disputes, because children push for position and hierarchy. And they do that behaviorally to sort of feel out the contours of the social structure. So, your kid will act perfectly fine at home, let's say, at the dinner table, but then you take them to a stranger's dinner table and all of a sudden they act out. And you think, what's up with you, you little monster? And what's up is that they're trying to figure out what the power structure is in the new. They don't know this, of course, but they're acting this out. They're trying to figure out if the same rules apply in this new situation as apply in the old situation. And they can't ask that, and they don't even know that they are rules exactly. They're regularities that they've learned. And so they'll test, and then you have to show them that, yeah, it's the same here. It's the same in this situation. But lots of parents are very uneasy with disciplining their children, partly because they believe that if you give a child infinite freedom, that's best for them, and that constraints are inappropriate, which is really just, well, I don't know what to say about that, except it's so untrue that it's very difficult to think of anything that's more untrue than that. But also the thing is if you let your children take advantage of you, if you have an ounce of spine and an ounce of aggression, which you do, especially if you don't admit it, then you will take revenge on your children. So if they have a temper tantrum in a grocery store and embarrass you, which a child who's canny can do quite effectively, because you wouldn't let them have that pack of crayons or a chocolate bar. And then, you tell yourself it's okay, and that you still, that really didn't make you that angry, and it's okay, but you're fuming inside. And then you go home, and half an hour later, maybe the child is doing some interesting little bit of work, maybe artwork or something, or does something good and comes up for a reward. It's like the probability that you're going to reward that child properly under those circumstances is zero. You're going to take the opportunity to take your revenge. And if you don't know that, then you're not much of a parent. And so part of the trick with kids is that if your child is doing something that makes you dislike them, that you have to figure out how to stop them from doing that and teach them how to do it properly. And you have to talk to your wife to make sure that you're not being too much of a monster, and the same with her. But that that discipline is partly what enables you to continue to like your child while you love them. And even more than that, you know, parents talk about fostering self-esteem and fostering creativity and all of that in their kids, and I think that's misbegotten. It's shallow for a variety of reasons. First, it's not that easy to foster creativity because it's rare, and self-esteem is a very badly defined concept, and mostly it's been used for harm, not good. What your job is as a parent is to help your child learn from between 2 years old and say 4 years old how to act in the world so that when people encounter them, people smile and are happy they're around. Because then, you know, I've seen kids who behave badly, and everywhere they go, people wear false smiles, and everywhere they go, people are relieved when they leave.
Pause it right there. So, what are you guys' take on this when it comes to disciplining? You know, we all grew up together. Let me go ahead and switch the screen back. We all grew up together. You guys know what it was like. How do you guys feel about the way Jordan Peterson labeled this?
I think he's completely right on the revenge things on children. You know what I mean? If we act out in public, you know, our mom, she ain't gonna say much, but when we get home, right, you already know we get the lashes. You know what I mean? So it's just knowing that, and I think a part of parenting is a part of fear. You know what I mean? It's having a little fear. You know, if we act up, you already know we don't want to piss off our dad. You know what I mean? If we give our mom a hard time, then our mom's gonna tell her dad, and then we don't want dad to know. So you already know. So like I think he's right. He's right on that. So for sure.
Yeah, I believe that Jordan Peterson is he has great points on it. He has great points on it. I would like to touch upon the children the hierarchical situation, because as humans, I personally believe that, you know, we roamed around in tribes, and when you're in a tribe, there's always some sort of hierarchical position. And granted, that's why when children they're at home, they act completely different because they know the hierarchy within the home, and then when they leave, they act out because now they're in an environment with multiple people, so they don't know the hierarchy within it. And that caveats on what Kwanzaa the one said. With our parents, I remember when our parents used to check us before going places. They would establish their hierarchical position before. It's like, yo, when we go into Walmart, stand right next to me. Don't go nowhere. So when we see other people, we're not like, oh, let me freak out and act out. Or when we go to other people's places, they would say, hey, make sure you guys are not, you know,
Running
acting
around.
out, running around, looking crazy. They're establishing their hierarchical position prior to going to these places. So of course, when we do go
there's a threat afterwards. I'm gonna beat your ass if you do this shit. So like, it's a fear.
Yeah. So when we do go to those places, we already know that our leadership is our parents. You know what I mean? We're not looking at like Joe Schmo's mom as, oh well, you know, she says I can throw paint on the wall. Our parents, they say, yo, do not throw paint on the wall. Hey, it's this is my tribe leader. I'm not throwing paint on the wall. Yeah.
But I mean, you know, we like you guys make great points, and I agree with that too. But when we were kids, think about all the times that like we were out and we did stuff like similar to what he was saying, how when we were in a different environment, we would test the hierarchical structures because we knew when our parents weren't there, we would do sometimes we're liable to do some reckless stuff because they're not around, right? Well, so I think that's very interesting the way he pointed it out like that, how kids are testing the hierarchical structure in other people's homes and things like that. Like I'm sure we've been over a friend's house, or we've been like over other friends' house, and it'd be like, yo, that's how you talk to your mom, or like that's how you talk to your dad. Like, be like, yo, like I would be dead right now if I ever did that, bro. I'd be dead. Like it's crazy, man. So I
think it also pinpoints towards like males. You know what I mean? Because males try to find more of like a hierarchical position within like a group of people. You get what I'm saying? So it's like like males try to establish themselves, saying like, "Who's the leader? I'm the leader," or am I like, am I following this guy, or you know what I mean? So I think that's what we usually did. Even even in our trio as brothers, we try to establish who is the leader in certain situations, in certain areas, and when we're all together trying to do something
Right.
or figure out something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's a common thing that we'll end up doing as boys growing up. There was always the leader of the group. Like
yeah,
I don't care
there's
what you're
always a
talking
leader.
about. There's always the leader, and the leader usually established like how far the boundaries of like what you're able to do and how far you're able to go. But
Right.
one thing that I wanted to like question was, do you think that, and this is obviously no sweat on our parents, like our parents are like, to me, like my parents are like the best like parents I could ever have. Like I would not replace them for the world.
Straight up, they're
But
better than yours.
so I mean our parents, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So did you ever think that you were ever disciplined unjustly as a child? Like
100%. Yeah, there's some times that I believe that I was disciplined for absolutely no reason.
right.
But I think those times are very important as well to understand that, like, sometimes to understand that things are just gonna happen, and you just gotta deal with it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they're gonna say no to you, and you just gotta roll with it. You gotta be like, okay,
Yeah.
the answer is no. So like I've been disciplined wrongly many a times, but I'm not complaining about it. I think
Yeah.
those things like really develop you as you grow up into the adult world.
Yeah. Those days where
I'm,
like you wanted to go out or you wanted to go do something and Popsy was
right.
just like he just said no. And
No,
you're just like, yo, why? Like what reason? Like why? You know what I'm saying? You're just trying to understand
like
why, but like it's those times where you just realize it's like, all right, cool. My dad said no, and I'm gonna just go inside and do whatever.
yeah,
And it's like those moments you learn restraint from like doing
Right.
certain stuff. So like now when I'm like at the age I'm at now, and people want me to like go out or do this or do something extra that I'm not really like, it's like there was like completely unplanned and stuff. I'll just be like, nah, I'm all right. Like I'm not gonna drink or like I'm not gonna do this. And it's like I'm fine with it. Like I can hold myself back and not have to be all up all around and do all kinds of dumb stuff. So I think
Right.
that's very interesting.
As of me, I believe that I wasn't. Well, there. I can't recollect times where I've been disciplined for no reason. Because y'all know me. Y'all know me. If anybody in this world, if there's any people in this world that know me, my brothers know me. I can't recollect a time when I was disciplined for no reason, but I can recollect a time where I believe that the disciplinary action was a little bit absurd, that was
Yeah,
a little bit overboard than what it should have been.
yeah,
yeah,
And
but
even then that's a learning experience too, as well too,
yeah,
because that plays off into life as you're growing up. You don't know the it could be you don't know what type of reaction you can get throughout life. You know what I mean? You could do something, and the type of reaction that you could get varies. It could be something great. It could be something small. It could be something, wow, this was a little bit too extreme, and it just honestly, being disciplined as a child just teaches you to be being disciplined as a child teach you to be disciplined as an adult.
yeah, for sure. Like
Yeah,
you definitely gain this sense of restraint. The sense of like,
yeah,
I'm gonna hold myself back. I don't have to like do this, or like you start to really think about the consequences of your actions too. So you like
right. And I'm not.
sometimes, yeah,
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
yeah, yeah. So like but when you're about to make a decision, like
Mhm.
now at the age I'm at now, like I think about like a million different ways that this can play out. And I think that's because as a child, we were disciplined. You know what I'm saying? Like you just couldn't go off and do something random or do something, you know, that that uh that would have warranted consequences. So now
Right.
you start to think about the consequences behind your actions because you know you're so accustomed to being disciplined growing up. So
Right. I being like I'll finish off what I said. Being disciplined as a child creates a disciplined adult. A disciplined adult.
yeah,
Um, but I'm not ignoring the fact that there are children out there that they are being there's a fine line, not even a fine line, huge line with
yeah,
child abuse and being disciplined.
yeah,
Because there's some kids out there that spill some milk and their parents are beating them till the broomstick breaks,
yeah,
which is a bit absurd. And just to add on to what you were saying, just to add on to what you were saying, um, um, till today, a lot of my decisions that I make, I still think of my parents. I
yeah,
still think of what my parents are gonna how they're gonna feel about it or what are they gonna think about it, and that transitions from when you are a child to where if you were about to skip school and you're like, damn, I'm going, all right, should I skip school? And you think like, damn, if I skip school and my dad finds out, you know what I mean?
yeah,
That's a wrap. That's a wrap. And then now as an adult, now I think that all right, cool. If I if I go out and indulge in just if I just do whatever or whatever decision I decide to make, for example, when I was making the decision to move to Colombia, I thought about how my parents would feel about that. I'm like, yo, how would they feel about that? How what's their opinion on it? And granted I'm an adult, and whatever decision that I make, it's my decision. That still crosses my mind on what my parents would feel
yeah.
about it, and that comes from just being disciplined as a child.
And
Yeah.
another thing too, I have two things. One thing that I always remembered, and like honestly, like I remember the times where our granny, like our grandmother, she would uh she would teach us like the Bible and stuff like that, right? And teach us how to pray and stuff. And I just always remember in her own words, she'd always say, like, I don't know what scripture was in the Bible, but it was I think it was respect your parents and you'll live a long life, or like or something along those lines. I don't know if you guys remember it at all, but it was like obey your parents and you will surely live like a long life, or something along those lines. So sometimes I'll remember that, and I'll just think that like, yo, like those are my parents, and like I just follow by like their kind of their rules almost. I am a grown man and I do make my own decisions, but I also keep that in consideration. Like
Right.
you never really want to demean your parents, or like or go too far down like with a decision that like your parents are really like disappointed in you.
Yeah.
And that leads into the second thing that I was going to say is, honestly, like I remember, and this is just a little story about me and my like what I ended up doing. So but right before my 18th birthday, a day before my 18th birthday, I was doing dumb shit. We were kids, right? And I was stealing shit from Walmart, right?
I remember this.
Yeah,
I remember this.
I was stealing stuff from Walmart, and I wasn't a bad kid, but getting stuff for free was pretty cool. So I would just take stuff. I would grab like headphones, clothes. I grabbed like hot pockets, whatever I was feeling. I just felt like whoa, this is amazing. I'm gonna just take it. And then I had got caught the day before I turned 18, bro. The day before I turned 18, and the police officers and the security guards found out that I was 17 and I was turning 18 the next day, and they were like, "You're lucky because we would have tried you as we would have like gone through with this as if you were an adult." And in the moment, I was like, "Fuck!" Like why did I even do this? And like I remember, Ma, she was planning on taking me skydiving for my birthday and everything like that, doing all this extra stuff for my birthday. And then when they found out about that, like I didn't even get like didn't even get like beat or nothing. I didn't get hit, or, you know what I'm saying? I didn't get disciplined in that regards. But the disappointment from my parents was so it literally destroyed me for like days. Like I was like I bawled my own eyes out because it's like they didn't even do anything. They were just like, yo, like we're just disappointed in your like almost like as if I was like wow, we did all this to raise you, and you're just like, you're disappointing, you're just a disappointment. And that was like worse than any spanking, anything, bro. Anything that happened before that was like the worst feeling ever. And so that was one thing about my personal situation when it comes to you know, being disciplined and the respect you have for your parents. So
another thing I have to put in there, and it kind of still haunts me till this day. You guys remember the time I got kicked out of school?
Yeah,
and like
go for it.
Like basically, like I don't know, like just seeing Ma cry, dude. Like, bro, that shit destroyed my heart. Like, I cried for like hours upon like just long story short, like I just got kicked out of school. And so, like, my mom was just like trying to rush and try to find me into my school. I was basically in my senior year. She was trying to get me to graduate and whatever. So, like, none of these schools are accepting me. And so I'm guessing she went to an online facility for kids getting enrolled to online school, but they weren't accepting me. But so basically, like, she didn't know what to do, and so she cried, and like she was like so like disappointed, and she was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and this and that, and just seeing that from my mom, like from my own mom, like, bro, that it changed my life forever. I realized that like I can't be doing like dumb shit to like just disappoint my parents, or just like I never want to see my mom or dad in that kind of state. Like it changes you for real.
Y'all know my track record.
Yeah. This is like an art.
Y'all know my war. Y'all know my scar. Right. But just to bring up a story, that day when I got caught stealing at Walmart, bro, I never stole anything in my life again.
Yeah.
I created a contract with myself. And it's like, I am never stealing anything ever again. And it's to the point now to where when I see other people entertaining theft, it disgusts me. Yeah. And this all plays back with our parents, because it was just like the disappointment of me doing that. Because it's like, after I was disciplined, I was thinking to myself, like, I have everything I need. I'm being fed, and you know what I mean? It's not like we didn't grow up poor.
Yeah.
We didn't grow up poor. We didn't grow up like wishing that we had stuff. We had everything. We had PlayStations. We had video games. We had PlayStation. We had access to cable. We were on Cartoon Network. It's not like we were kids out. We had a pool. We're not like kids out there that watch Kids WB because that's free cable.
Yeah.
we had Cartoon Network. So when that happened, it definitely like the disappointment of our parents definitely affected me traumatically. And I forged a contract with myself, and I was like, bro, I am not stealing anything ever again. I'm not doing any type of crime again. And it was the contract was so like affirmed on myself, to the point where it was like I started losing friends because now my friends is going out there and be like, oh, you pussy, you're not about this, you're not this, and you're not that. And it was just like, bro, the disappointment of my parents was you weren't there to to see it nor witness it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You weren't there to see it nor
That shit
witness
hurts
it.
worse
So,
than anything, bro. That's
Yeah.
worse than
oh yeah,
anything,
Worse
bro.
than anything,
oh,
bro.
Anything,
oh
dude.
yeah.
Like,
I'd rather take a beating than disappoint
yeah,
my parents.
yeah. So it's
Or I'd
a
just rather just not disappoint or take a beating at all.
yeah. I mean, obviously you don't want to
I
take a
mean,
beating, but you know,
Well, if I was to choose, get
yeah,
ass whooping or just you know what I mean.
there
right.
was a point in time where but let's be real, there was a point in time ass whoopings weren't even effective. They were non-effective. They
I got
used to
too
be
many of
super
them.
effective. They used to
I
be
didn't.
super effective, critical hit. Now they were just
Yeah,
like
Just become
non-effective.
abused.
yeah. Because the ass beating is an ass beating. It's like it's over. It's there, and then it's over, and then that's it. You know, you move on. But like
It's funny
the
because I
yeah.
uh-huh,
No,
the disappointment.
the disappointment is like it's like this lingering, long lasting effect, and it's like you feel as though you're never gonna have like your parents like trust. You know what I'm saying? I never felt like that before, and it was like it was really shitty. You know what I'm saying? Like we had cars, like we drove to high school. Like,
Yeah,
you know what
all
I'm saying?
three. Yeah,
We all three of us, we drove to high school. We had like, you know, I had everything, I had everything. It's like, so it really just it killed me inside when I felt that disappointment from my parents or from our parents, man. That was just it really killed me. But what you got any other final words on that?
I remember when the teacher used to call home and
Yeah,
Ma used to pick up and I would get home before her and I knew it was game over once she got home.
yeah,
Bro, I used to wear like three underwears.
yeah. I used to layer up,
I used to like layer up, like
layer
no
up.
joke, like yo, like I used to layer up, like yo, let
Oh
me wear three
shit!
underwear. Let me just wear three underwear. Let me try to put two jeans on, and
Yeah,
let me, at least let me be doing something diligent. So when she does come,
yeah,
hopefully she can find the kindness in her heart, and she can be like, ah, he's doing his homework. So let me just have a talk with him instead of my mom, and our father. There was no games. It
I,
was
I
just like,
remember. I remember a very long time ago you did that. They told you to take the clothes off or some shit. Or
bro, it was
something like that, man. Like this is like
because
they're
and
doing it later now for a second.
and and the funny thing is, we're living in a time where it's like you go on like TikTok and Instagram and you see kids like making fun of it, and it's like, damn, I remember that. Like I remember
yeah,
that,
bro.
but
Yeah, bro. That shit was serious, dude. I ain't gonna lie. I remember, like, bro, like it was. But at the end of the day, the way when I look back at it, it's like, I mean, sometimes I needed it. Sometimes some of those times I
bro,
needed it, bro. Like we would have
it,
been. Imagine what we'd have been. We would have been just misfits.
Yep.
We would
yeah,
have been just out. We would have been fucking like juvenile misfits. We would have had no rhyme or reason, doing whatever we want, And I see kids do that, and I'm like, bro, like this guy has no restraint, no discipline. He has
right,
no character. You know what I'm saying? And uh, although there is obviously there is a like a big wide line between disciplining your kids and child abuse and like all there and I'm sure there are kids out there that are dealing with real child abuse from their parents. I'm actually reading David Goggins book right now, and like the first chapter is about how his dad used to just beat the crap out of him and his brother and his mom, and like it really made me think about like wow, like there were kids that like got destroyed by their parents, like just bloody
yeah,
nose and stuff like that, like and beaten and all kinds of stuff. So I mean, obviously, like my heart goes out to the kids that end up in that situation, and I hope that something happens and intervenes so that they get them out. But at the same time, I do understand the importance of sometimes, bro. I needed licks, bro. Sometimes, like I was unruly, and I needed
yeah,
licks, man. And we're from the islands, so we don't we're not we weren't our parents weren't up on all that, modern parenting shit, bro. They were we're from the island, so it was a strict, hard way of disciplining your kids, but like what the Bible say. The Bible said to spare the rod and not the child. Spare the rod, spare the rod and not the child. You know what I'm saying? So,
and honestly, I would take all those ass whoopings over than me being a degenerate now in my adult age.
Exactly.
Than me being in prison, or me being homeless, or me just repetitively making dumb decisions. So hey, all those ass whoopings, they created who I am today. So I'm not tripping.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I'm not tripping about it. But, all right, so we're gonna move into the second video, another one by Jordan Peterson, and I haven't seen this one. I just looked it up. We'll react to it. So let's get it going. Okay. The share screen. Okay. We got that up. All right, let's go.
Real father. What kind of relationship do you have with your father? Your real father. It's often ambivalent, right? Because there's an element of him that encouraged you, hopefully, because without the encouragement of your father, man, the world is a dismal place. It's very difficult to be a courageous person unless you have your father in body and spirit behind you. It's very demoralizing. Like, it really kills people not to have their mother. They just don't recover from that. But and I think people can recover from a fragmented father relationship, but it's the next worst thing, because if your father rejects you or doesn't form a relationship with you, it's as if the spirit of civilization has left you outside the walls as of little worth. It's very difficult for people to recover from that. So the father should be an encouraging force, but can be a tyrannical and crushing force. And so that's a very difficult thing to get right, partly because if you're my son, then I should impose the highest standards of behavior on you. And I should always be judging what you're doing. I should be judging it with the aim of making the best in you come forward. But getting that balance exactly right is very difficult. And so it's easy for a father to swing too much into judgment, let's say. And then, of course, mothers can play this role too, to swing too far into the domain of judgment and to be too harsh. And to the degree that the father has his own pathologies, he's going to do that imperfectly. Well, my father's a formidable person, and like he's really good with little kids. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of friction when I was a teenager, and that took some time to sort out. But there were complicated reasons for that. Mm-hmm. Some of them involved ill health of various sorts, and teenage stupidity, and some intransigence on his part because he's quite a stubborn person. But both my parents. I've been blessed with my parents because they're extraordinarily honest people. I can't think of a time, and this is literally the truth, I can't think of a time when I believe that my parents lied to me about anything. Mm-hmm. And that's a great gift. The other thing that my father bequeathed to me, I would say, when I was a child, was an unshakable confidence that I could do what I put my mind to, put my efforts to. Mm-hmm. And he truly believed that. And there's some that's lodged inside me as an unshakable foundation.
All right, so we'll talk about that before we move on to the next section. So, what do you guys think about that?
One thing stood out to me about our parents lying to us. I don't think our parents have ever lied to us, have they? I don't think there's ever been a time they genuinely just said something that was false.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I that's why I truly genuinely believe that our parents are the best model for parents that we could ever have, that they could ever come to us. You know what I mean? They don't lie. They're honest people. They tell how it is. They discipline. They're strict. They're sometimes forgiving. They give as well. We have been giving gifts before. Remember we got our GameCube? Remember when we got all these these stuff that we always wanted and they gave it to us? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I think. We had a pretty good life. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have no. Oh, let me fix the screen. Let me take this down. Yeah. Oh, let me add. I came back to screen. Okay.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys.
No, you're good. You're good. We just he cut off for a little bit, but
You
yeah, I
good?
mean, did you catch all of that though, Hakeem? You saw all of
I
it.
caught I caught the whole video.
Okay, so yeah, like just picking off back on what Kwanzaa said. Yeah, our parents. I've never doubted my parents a day in my life, man, and we've seen it all. Like I've seen them go through every single step. I mean, since I was born, obviously, but I've seen them go through a lot, and they did everything. Like, but my parents are the example. They're the role models that like I use to like govern my own relationships too. And that I think that's very important, and I like what he was diving into. Your father being behind you, and it's like once that is behind you, once you feel that, you feel indestructible, you feel invincible. You know what I'm saying? And if it's not there, then you almost feel like we were saying, you feel casted out by like society or like civilization, and it's not a feeling that you want, right? And I'll just go back to like another memory of mine where I was in the military. Anybody that's watching this, I was in the Navy. We were all in the military. I was Navy, and both my brothers were Army. I did a deployment on my first deployment. You know what I'm saying? And this is back in 2015, and this is like the real military. I'm out there on the ocean, on the waters, doing my job, doing my thing. 7 months out to sea, and we're finally making it back into port, and I man the rails like I do. I like how like I don't know if you've seen the commercials, how they have like all the sailors around the perimeter of like the flight deck on the ship standing. I did that. Like
Right.
I manned the rails and everything like that. And I was like, in my heart, I was like, so I was just ready to like come home and like see our father, right? And he wasn't there. Like for whatever reason, he was either working, or he couldn't come. And like obviously Ma was there. Ma like made a whole scene and almost got like escorted out because she like passed like the barriers when she saw me. And that was great. That was great. But in that moment, I was really looking for our father in that moment. And I mean, I don't know if he ever thinks about it or not, you know. And I know the kind of person our father is. I don't know if he ever thinks about it, but in that moment, I was looking for him, for like that affirmation of like yo, you did that. You know what I'm saying? And like when he wasn't there, I ain't gonna lie. Obviously, like at the time I was like 20 something years old, and I didn't want to make it seem like it. I was 21. I didn't want to make it seem like I was bothered by it, but I really was. I really was upset that he wasn't there, and I mean, and obviously I do remember times where my father would encourage me. You know what I'm saying? And he was there. Like for example, when I graduated not high school, college 2 years ago. Um, he was there, and it's that just that affirmation of like, damn, like my father's here, and he's watching me excel at whatever I'm doing. I told him I was going to do this, and I ended up doing it, and now it feels great. So that's just one
Right.
experience, that I remember, where not having your father there, and then having your father there, it's a completely different feeling, man. And you really do truly feel like you're something, with that fatherly support. So what do you guys say about that?
you
Um.
want
Yeah. I could definitely. It's weird because when I had my graduation from basic training, right?
Yeah,
Our mother wasn't able to attend it, but our father came, and even though that our mother wasn't there, I still felt the satisfaction of it because our father came.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So I'm trying to put myself into your position to where it's like, all right, cool. What if our father didn't come and it was just solely our mother? You know what I mean? Granted, I would be happy that our mother came, but like you said, it's just that approval from your father that is very important, as especially as a young man, because whatever we do in this world, we always think, especially the fact that we grew up with our father, we know our father. You know what I mean? We grew up with our father and we know our father. We're always thinking about our father's opinion and his reaction before we think of anybody else.
Yeah.
Before we think of anybody else. And yeah, what I have to say about our father is our father honestly is just a stand-up guy. I mean, he's just honest, straightforward, good character. He's just a stand-up guy. Like he's just like, all right, cool. I created life. It's my job to do it. It's my obligation. It's my duty. It's not like, you know what I mean. It's not like he was like, it's not like he was like, all right, cool. Oh damn, we have children. Oh damn, I got kids, so I have to take care of them. They're my kids. It was just more like, bro, my son's is here. This is my job.
Yeah.
It's like my son's is here. This is my duty. It wasn't like I'm pretty sure when we were born, he wasn't thinking on the fact that, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure when we were born, he wasn't thinking of the fact that, oh damn, my son is here. Oh, I gotta do this, or I gotta level up this, or I gotta do this. He was like, yo, my son's here, man. I'm gonna show him stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show him. I'm gonna show him around. Like my son's here. Like straight up. Like, yo, this is a celebration. My son's here. Like he wasn't like how a lot of men are today. That when they do have children, they're in a panic. He's just like, bro, it whatever plays out is whatever plays out. But my son is here. It's my duty. It's my duty and my obligation to raise him and feed him, because that is my lineage.
Yeah.
That is my lineage, and that's very important. So he did his job. He did his job well. We had PlayStations, cars.
But it's not even that.
Go ahead.
He did his job because we're all in good places in our lives. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of guys out here lost, bro. Don't know what the fuck they're doing. Stuck in prison, whatever, bro. I'm living in an apartment. I'm going to university. You're in Colombia. You're chilling. You're about to be engaged. When he was chilling, he's in Vegas doing his thing. Like, we're in good places in life. So that's why I believe he's truly done his job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I remember. I forgot what video I was watching, but they were saying that like you don't really know if you're a good parent, because you'll be long gone by the time that's proven.
Patrick Bet David.
Yeah, Patrick Bet
David.
Yeah, he said that. It's like you don't know if you'll be a good parent because you'll be long gone before that's proven, and that's when we raise the next generation. It's what we do for the next generation. And I think that's why we're very out of all three of us, we're all very strict on who we take on seriously in our life as a woman. For a woman, we take that role very seriously because of the kind of woman our mother was, right?
Yeah,
right.
And we all know like how hard mom went for like all three of us and pops. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to find that basically. But another thing that I'll caveat is one last thing before we continue the video is, although our father and our mother were there for like most of the moments in our life, right? They were there.
Right.
They were there at all of our graduations. They were there at all of most of all of our boot camp graduations. They were there at my graduation, college. My mom was there at when I came back from deployment, and like just all the situations, right? But although that and is grateful for some odd reason.
You guys didn't
Hello,
get Ethernet, bro.
hello.
Yeah, you
Am
broke
I?
up.
Yeah, you broke up for a bit.
All right, stream is okay. All right, we should be good. Yeah. So for some reason, you really remember the times when they're not there, right?
Right.
And it's like damn. Like for example, when I did my bodybuilding show last year, the only reason why I chose Florida to do it is because all my people were back in Florida, and I was expecting everybody to come out and watch me, watch the hard work that I've been putting in, and and my parents had the opportunity to go. It wasn't like they were working, but they just decided not to go, and like that was just another thing where I thought it was like, damn, like how many times do you get to see your son, your kids just shine and whatever? Like, yeah, like this isn't gonna make me a bunch of money. It's not going to but it's just something I worked hard at, you know what I'm saying? And even as a grown man, I still wanted that from my parents, and that was just one
Right.
example of like where I don't know, for some reason you just remember the times where they're not there, so it's very important.
And last thing, I'm also grateful because I remember in basic training where kids didn't even have parents, bro.
Yeah,
Like literally, the drill sergeants had to tell them like, "Yo, you go stay at the barracks or something." While we all go meet our parents and we all go out for a day out and something like that. And I just remember just this one kid. He just looked like destroyed. Like he already knew he didn't have nobody to come out to see him, but just to just be there and actually see that nobody's there for him, and he just
yeah,
goes back alone. Like I was like, wow. It's like imagine if that was me, bro. I don't even know how I react if like my parents weren't there, or like they just didn't care or anything like that. But
yeah.
so I'm
So
grateful that they came.
right. Let's move into the next section of the video. Let's go.
So one of the things you can think about this when you're parents too, and this is probably especially relevant for the men, because one of the things you might ask is what role do men play in the socialization of children? And one thing that men really do seem to do with kids is to engage in rough and tumble play, especially once they're a little older than 2, say 2 to 5 or something. And kids love that. They absolutely love rough and tumble play. Gets them so excited that, they get out of control fundamentally. But rough and tumble play is an excellent mode of socialization because it teaches the child the distinction between aggression and too much aggression, right? Because if you're wrestling with a kid, the kid has to keep their behavioral output under a fair degree of control to keep the game going, to make it rough enough to be exciting, but not so rough that they get hurt or, that they stick their thumb in their dad's eye or something like that. And you can think of that from a Piagetian sense too, because it's a game, but imagine that if you're trying to figure out how to configure yourself around other people, if you haven't had that rough and tumble play, you don't really know where the boundaries of your body are, and you don't know how much you can take and how much you can be stretched and how much you can be thrown around and when something actually hurts rather than is frightening. And so all of that intense sort of play that boys in particular are likely to engage in, although girls also like it, seems to be very useful for teaching children about how to engage with the world and with other people in a physical way. And that's one of the physiological foundations for higher order socialization. So it's very useful. I mean, I've always often noted that children who haven't had the opportunity to engage in physical play, they're kind of awkward. They're not seated well in their body, and it's like they're kind of vague physically. Whereas the ones who've been twisted around and bent and thrown up in the air and wrestled in general, they're a lot more conscious of their limits and their abilities in their body, and they're also much more able to invite other kids to play.
Yep. So that was the other section of that. So what do you guys think about that when it comes to rough play with your kids, being a dad, or just rough play in between?
I think
siblings.
That is very important. We have always, you already know, we've all used to rough out with each other, dude. It's just a part of our lives, you know what I mean? And Another thing with that, it shows us competitiveness. You know what I mean? You know how our dad he used to always just make jokes on us, like when we were doing certain things. And the one thing I
Yep.
remember is when we used to play Street Fighter with him. He always used to pick Bison and do some cheap ass shit. And so he would literally just talk shit the whole time, and we're over there trying to figure out how to best him at this game. So we're over there sitting there on the game for hours playing it, trying to get better, trying to hone our skills. It really shows you a competitive side of yourself and how to compete. So that's what I think is very important about the rough and tumble play.
Right. I'll go back to another memory that I have of our pops. I remember being a kid, and this is the old house in Orlando that we used to live in. And I remember like he was like, I was trying to like run to the room. You know how like it was like a straight hallway, then it was like to the left, to the
Yeah.
room, all the way on the end.
Yeah.
And like he was like, run to the room, and I'm gonna try to catch you, like see if you're fast enough to get away. And I was like thinking in my head, like, yo, I'm like as a kid, you used to think that you were super fast. You were like, I'm fast as fuck. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, there's no way. I was looking at him, I was looking at our dad, and it was like, there's no way he's gonna catch me, man. There ain't no way, bro. I took like 5 steps, bro, and he was like, good. So like I think that rough play is important for little boys too and girls, just to like know the physical magnitude of your own body and like your dad or whoever you're playing with, because at that moment I thought I was faster. I thought, that I can evade, but obviously I wasn't. I was a little kid with little legs, and I didn't understand that. But like when he got me, I was like, how the hell did he get me? Like, how could he be so fast? Like, and you start to think about all that stuff in your head and stuff. And it was just a really interesting moment when I was a kid, and I was like, yo, like, that, like, you know what I'm saying? Just moments like that where you just think it's like, wow, like my dad is so strong. Or like, I remember one time we seen him like move a refrigerator across the freaking room or through a door by himself, and I'm like, wow, like my dad is so freaking strong. Like I think every kid needs that. They need to know that about like their dad or something about their dad. Like, yo, my dad's so smart. Like, how did he build this thing? Or like, how did he do this? You know what I'm saying? And that's
honestly, throughout our whole entire lives, I've always looked up to my dad as a symbol of strength, of moving things. You know what I mean? Like our dad was that guy. He was the guy to get stuff done, like to move things. He was strong. He had big arms. I was like, bro, my dad is strong. That's why I always he was always like a big dude. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, I remember wrestling around with pops and whatnot, and I remember being a child, and this dude used to just put me on his shoulders and just walk with me everywhere, and you know what I mean, just like, and that itself just that itself is a testimony of his might, of his strength. And you're looking at a kid and you're like, he's carrying me all day, you know what I mean? And the fact that he's carrying you, you feel safe. You feel safe, and you feel safe, and you feel secure. And also he would toss me on the bed, play rough with me and stuff like that. And fortunate enough, I had you guys as my brothers, so I was able to we were able to keep that going after when our father started increasing in his age, and as he started focusing on other things like maintaining the home and whatnot, not really having time to rough play with us. But it's important for, like what Jordan Peterson said, it's very important for kids, especially boys, to rough play.
Yeah.
To really rough play, because I mean us just solely rough playing as children toughened me up as I got older.
Yeah.
So as I got older and I would get into high school and I would engage into fights and whatnot, it's like, well, I'm not scared. I'm not intimidated, because I grew up with brothers and we fought all the time.
Yeah.
We fought all the time.
Another thing I wanted to say was, I remember, and this is just memories, like I'm just going through like all kinds of like cataloging my memories and stuff like that. I remember very vividly when we were in elementary school back in Orlando, and we were like, it was like, I think it was like either after school time or something, because we were all three there, and we were just like, we were just playing out in the field, and we would just like wrestle each other and tackle each other, and like we would just be like moving, like, you know what I'm saying? We were just like little tanks, and we would just like be moving and like tossing each other and stuff like that. And then like there was like other kids that came up to us, and they were like, can we play too? And we kind of looked up at them and was like, I don't know if you're ready for like, I don't think this is like this is kind of like a brother thing. Like, I don't want to like, because like we all knew how rough we got, even at that young age. Like, we used to get rough to the point where sometimes Kwanzaa might start crying, I might start crying. Most of the time it's because Akeem freaking beat the crap out of us or something like that. And it would get to that point. Like sometimes our rough play got to that point, and we knew that. And we knew that, like, yo, we can't just do that to other kids. So in that moment, we were like, I mean, this is kind of like a brother thing. And we just kept going at it and stuff like that. I just remember that. It was crazy.
You remember our distant cousins? You remember our distant cousins, like when we used to rough out with them or rough house with them, bro? Just how weak and fragile they were. You know what I mean? So, Shamel,
okay, yeah.
And, you know what I mean? Like we used to just play with them for like, they'll be like, yeah, no, let's wrestle, let's play. And we'd be like, okay. So afterwards, you play with them for 2 minutes, they're like crying on the ground, like,
yeah. Akeem used to beat the crap out of Shamel, yo. I won't lie. I do remember there were times where Akeem would make Shamel cry, and like,
hey man, I had to, but it wasn't enough.
Right. No, I remember
Family fun.
I remember there was one specific moment. This is back in Kissimmee, the house in Kissimmee. I don't know what possessed Akeem to do it, but we were just playing outside or something, and he picked up a pole, and I was trying to run away from him, and this dude like side swiped my ankles, bro, and busted up my ankles with a metal pole, bro. I was on the ground like, bro, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Like,
yeah.
Like, I was just like, I was on the ground in just agony and pain. I was like, dude, like, you serious? Like,
I had to.
You remember you rode over my face with your bike while I was on the sidewalk? Yeah, you.
I had to, bro. You guys are stronger. You guys are stronger. I had to. I had to be the one that there had to be one person that takes things to the extreme. So at least we know what the extreme is. So if you come across anything underneath the extreme, you're not really tripped out about it.
So
but yeah, man,
it's any other things on that before we're gonna do one last segment of the video and then we'll wrap it up.
All right, okay. And we yeah, but I had to, man. I had to be rough. I had to be rough. I had to play rough. I'm the oldest, so it's a power structure.
Yeah.
It's a power structure. It's me asserting my dominance onto you and you proving your dominance to me. So it's a power structure. So it's like, you know, we're gonna have to just keep going at it. I remember when it was one time I had to take both of y'all on, bro. I had to take both of y'all on, and then, you know, O'Neal went to go wrestle and stuff like that, and then I don't know what happened, bro. I wasn't really messing with that, bro. It was like, all right, cool.
My old wrestling fucking.
You feel me? And I felt like that was cheating. Because it was like, you know,
I had to get stronger, bro.
We just wrestle each other off of just homemade techniques. You're like, all right, cool, I want to go wrestle. So it's like, nah, I don't want to wrestle you no more because you're gonna implement something that you learned. That's not fair. But yeah, man. But it's important. It's important for guys to go. Important. It's important for guys to go out there and get beat up, bro. To get beat up, bro.
And it's important to do it, and it's better when you have brothers because, you know, some dudes don't give a damn about your well-being and will like break your bones or, like, you know what I'm saying?
Straight up.
It's better that you do it with your brothers, roughhouse with your brothers, or even fight with your brothers before, you know, you even do it with anybody else outside of your family structure. So
and also growing up, we bullied each other too, and our father was a bully too.
Yeah.
We used to make fun of it. We used to laugh at each other's demise. We used to make fun of each other, make fun of each other's head or hair, our
Yeah.
teeth. Be like, yo, you ugly. You do this, you that, and it builds character because when we went to school, people used to say the same thing, and I used to be like,
I think
you remember that one time?
Yeah.
I remember one time when Kwanzaa had his dregs, I called him Tangela.
Dude, I ain't gonna lie,
Pokemon.
dude. I mean, I think Kwanzaa's good now, but I ain't gonna lie, bro. Pops went in on you when you lost to that girl in wrestling, dog. Dog, I ain't gonna cap. I mean, obviously, like, you know, it's wrestling match. It is what it is. But like, at the time, I understood you. You didn't want to. You could have easily destroyed her, but you just didn't want to because you know she was a girl. But like, you know, I would have beat her ass, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I would have beat her ass. And you just gotta laugh about. You gotta laugh about it. You know, like it's funny. Like
you just gotta laugh about it, man.
Yeah. You know, there's been times where you know I would do stuff and like father would you know rag on me about it or something like that. Like it's, you know, you just look back at it and honestly it's those moments that you remember and you want to do better than that. You want to win or you want to, you know, level up. And it's like I remember Patrick Bet-David was talking about it, and you know he was playing basketball with his boys and did a tournament and they got like last place and they got a trophy for it. And his dad kept that last place trophy, you know, till this day. And he always like puts it on the table or something. It's like, you have to remember this because you were you were dead last. And like that fueled him to like keep on pushing and keep on getting better and stuff like that. So you definitely got to use that to your advantage. So, all right. Let's move on to the last segment of the video and then we'll wrap it up.
There's the father that you have, and that's a human being, that's a man like other men, a man among men. But then there's the father as such, and that's the spirit of the father. And insofar as you have a father, you have both at the same time. You have the personal father that's a man among other men, just like anyone else's father. But insofar as that man is your father, that means that he's something different than just another person. And what he is the incarnation of the spirit of the Father. And to see that, to take it to what? To disrespect that carelessly. Like Noah makes a mistake, right? He produces wine and gets himself drunk. And you might say, well, you know, if he's sprawled out there for everyone to see, it's hardly Ham's fault if he stumbles across him. But the book is laying out a danger. And the danger is that, well, maybe you catch your father at his most vulnerable moment, and if you're disrespectful, then you transgress against the spirit of the Father. And if you transgress against the spirit of the Father and lose respect for the spirit of the Father, then that is likely to transform you into a slave. That's a very interesting idea, and I think it's particularly interesting, maybe not particularly interesting, but it's particularly germane, I think, to our current cultural situation, because I think that we're pushed constantly to see the nakedness of our father, so to speak, because of the intense criticism that's directed towards our culture. We're constantly exposing its weaknesses and vulnerabilities and, let's say, nakedness. And there's nothing wrong with criticism, but the thing about criticism is the purpose of criticism is to separate the wheat from the chaff. It's not to burn everything to the ground, right? It's to say, well, we're going to carefully look at this. We're going to carefully differentiate. We're going to keep what's good and we're going to move away from what's bad. But the point of the criticism isn't to identify everything as bad. It's to separate what's good from what's bad so that you can retain what's good and move towards it. And to be careless at that is deadly, because you're inhabited by the spirit of the Father. Insofar as you're a cultural construction, then you're inhabited by the spirit of the Father. And to be disrespectful towards that means to undermine the very structure that makes you not all of what you are, certainly not all of what you are, but a good portion of what you are, insofar as you're a socialized cultural entity. And if you pull the foundation out from underneath that, what do you have left? You can hardly manage on your own. You know, it's just not possible. You're a cultural creation. And it does seem to me that anyone who lives in the West, in the Western culture at this time in history and in this place, and who isn't simultaneously grateful for that is half blind, at least, because it's never been better than this. And it could be so much worse. And it's highly likely that it will be so much worse, because for most of human history, so much worse is the norm.
All right. What do you guys think about that last bit? The seeing or disrespecting or undermining the spirit of the Father.
It's crazy because that's what's happening nowadays. Is just the undermining and just ignoring the spirit of the Father. And we live in a strange time where just speaking in Western side, where fathers really don't get the credit that they truly deserve.
Right.
And they don't get the credit that they truly deserve. And like I always say, it's gonna come crashing on itself. It's gonna remember, it's the father that goes out and has to provide for the family. It's the father that goes out and dies in wars and does things. So, you know, and the spirit of the Father is very powerful, and it still lives on with us till now, because when we make decisions, we're thinking about our Father.
Yeah.
When we do things, it's like the spirit of our Father is just like, bro, let me not, I can't be out here just not be doing anything.
Yeah.
Because you think about like your father. It's like, I can't be out here just not doing nothing. Just not doing nothing. And the reason why we're doing something is because we think about our Father. We think about our Father, and it's like, yo, our Father's always constantly doing something. There's never been a point of time in us growing up with our Father not doing something. Just not doing, doing some sort of project or creating something or working on something.
Yeah, and that just shows like true temperance when it comes to that spirit of the Father, right? It's like sometimes like I seen our Father do things that I've seen our Father do things that I couldn't even imagine. Like I just can't really even fathom doing, or like it's like wow, like when we did like when we moved the house and like and they built the new house on the property and things like that.
Yeah,
like that was like a full scale project between like 4 guys. It was me, Pops, Curtis, and one of Curtis's workers, and it was like just 4 of us moving this house, laying down these beams, doing all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, wow, like this is on another level. So it definitely makes me respect our Father for just being that kind of man, because there are men out there that don't do nothing, that won't build, that won't create anything, especially if they have kids. You know, if you have kids, you have to build, and you have to create, and you have to constantly be on your P's and Q's, right? You can't really be in your thoughts all. Like imagine if we would have grew up and our Father was like always in his thoughts and like always like, you know, complaining about something, like, or like, you know, like that was never the case. We always seen our Father either working, he's doing something, he's on, like, you know, he had his time where he chilled and he relaxed, but most of the time it was just work. He had some kind of project going on, something was always happening.
He always had something going on, like he's always doing stuff, and that fuels that transitioned into us now, because we're always doing something.
Yeah,
we're always doing something. Like there's never a point of time where it's like we're not doing anything. It's like, you know what I mean? We're always doing something, working towards something or something.
Yeah, there's always another thing to like gain, and like one other thing that I wanted to say was in this day and age, in this world now, this modern society, the big push is to obviously we all know the big push is to emasculate the man, and somehow lesser the man's masculinity, and we think that is okay. And like one of the things that a lot of people push now in society is just men crying and seeing men cry. And like I'm telling you, I'm telling you, like I haven't there's only a maybe two times in my entire life I actually seen tears come from my father's eyes.
I
Like
only
like
seen it one time.
and like only like twice, you know what I'm saying, that I could physically remember that I seen real tears come from his eyes. And like and to a lot of people they're gonna say that well, like he has pent up anger and he doesn't know how to control his emotions and he needs to let it out and stuff like that. And what they don't understand is that he is a man, and not only he's a man, he is a man's man, and he had 3 sons, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like he had 3 sons. So it's like you don't have time to be emotional. You don't have time to be in your thoughts. You don't have time to be like all this like expressive, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to at that, and like and that was his personality too. Obviously some men cry more than others, but that was just his personality too, and the way he was brought up. He was just rough around the edges, and deep down inside, like I know like the kind of person our father is. Like he's caring, he's giving. He'll put in the, like, if he really sees potential in you, he'll put in the work. He'll definitely like contribute, and he's always trying to he'll always, everything that he says is to bring out the best in you, even though you might not see it in the time and it might upset you. He'll still give it to you in a way where it's like, look, man, you got to do better, you got to be better, you always have to do something. So I definitely see that, like that's the way I've always seen it. And I'm glad that I didn't watch my father cry in every hard situation, or if something happened, or like because he's always just been the rock. He's been the rock, you know what I'm saying, in our family. He's just the sturdy place to, like, always, like, reliable. So I definitely think that is important for today's men being fathers as moving forward. If y'all got anything to caveat that, if not, we will close it up.
No, I think I've said everything about, like, on every point. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I think we definitely touched up on some really crucial points. We definitely tagged everything, hit the
Yeah,
nail on the head.
let me read some comments real quick. So we got a comment. Justin got vlog. This is such a good topic for you guys because of how your father raised you guys. I've been around for a good part, and he's a champ, man. So I appreciate that, Justin.
Just
shout out
Yeah,
to the
just
boy.
shout out to the boy. Appreciate that, man. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for everybody who's watching. Anybody that's catching the replay, appreciate it. Hit the like, subscribe. Help a boy out through the algorithm. We're gonna do a lot more episodes together. I'm gonna do a lot more episodes together with my brothers as we move forward. This has been Father's Talk. Drop a comment if you agreed with anything that we said, or drop a comment if you disagree with anything. Give me a thumbs down and tell me what I could do better with the channel. How can I move forward with this channel and everything like that? I want to take all the input that I can. Anyways, that was Father's Talk, episode 3. Signing out, and peace.